at the time I was doing radio already. I'd started at 89.9 at Magic, and Boom Gonzalez worked there, and he was very encouraging, and said, we're having auditions this year for courtside reporter. I know you're a senior at Ateneo. You should give it a go. Sabi ko, I don't know anything about basketball. I don't know anything about sports. Sabi niya, aralin mo. And so I figured, what's wrong with taking a chance? Just go ahead and give it a go. And so, I learned the names of the players, I learned the names of the coach, and then I auditioned. And it went well, thankfully. I was so grateful to the team, and syempre the production team as well, because they gave me a chance and said that if I was willing to learn and I was willing to try, that they would give me the chance to cover, my team, my school. So,
alam mo, Jessica, you being a courtside reporter coincided with the darkest parts of Lasal basketball history, considering that you were part of that 5-peat run ng Ateneo. You said that you didn't know much about basketball. You come into a team that was on the brink of history. How was that like, yung ride na yun?
It was really, really exciting and really, really terrifying. You could tell. I mean, I was coming in. The Ateneo had already won championship, so I knew I was coming into a very strong team, and a lot of eyes were going to be there. And I wanted to make sure that I was giving the team its due. I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to come off as completely ignorant. But thankfully, everybody was so supportive. The coaching staff, especially, were always there to answer my questions. I would go to practices, and they would always make sure that they would make themselves available, and the players were as well. And syempre, the production team, all the other courtside reporters. A lot of the other reporters knew what they were doing, and I took advice also from the other hosts, and it was such a collaborative experience, and dami kong natutunan from everybody around me.
That's great to hear. I was actually gonna ask you, if you could name maybe the best part of being a courtside reporter, and maybe even the hardest part as you were adjusting into that. And I didn't even know that you didn't know basketball. It didn't seem like it.
Thank you. Fake it till you make it, nga, diba? So the best part, I'm sure you've asked a lot of other courtside reporters this, and it's really, really hard to pinpoint just one thing. I think, you're so young, you're so excited to get that sort of opportunity. And I think even just trying to find one moment or one single thing is kind of impossible. I loved so much about it. I learned so much, and I gained so much confidence. You're put in front of that kind of crowd. You're expected to come out and do your reporting live and have something to say. And I think the best part of it is probably kind of related to the challenges, most challenging part of it too, because all that pressure, you come out of that much more confident and feeling really strong about yourself. But at the same time, in the moment, pressure talaga.
Yeah.
It can be really, really scary. And, not everybody's always, the feedback you get isn't always going to be positive, and that's okay. But that's hard when you're that young and you're putting yourself out there. You're putting your face, your efforts out into the world in that way. And I'm sure you guys can understand that as well. And I mean, honestly,
I can relate to that. Yeah. I mean, like, si Jet kasi iba yung approach niya kasi he was a player
Yun
so,
nga.
iba talaga yung pressure that he had to deal
Ibang
with.
pressure.
Oo,
And honestly, like to be a woman also, to be a young woman in that space. I mean, the expectation is our courtside reporters are going to be women. Syempre, we had Job De Leon that year, and they're always going to be men, and that's great. But I think it's a different kind of pressure. You're expected to not just perform well, but you're expected to look a certain way also, and that's hard to sometimes parang process when you're that young.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of expectations on women in particular, especially when they work in sports. And kudos for everyone who finds a way to make everything work and make everything come into place, because it is difficult for them. And you mentioned it a while ago, helping your confidence. And ngayon, you work in the States, working around news, working around the podcast production. You said that you were actually there to cover politics at a certain point. What does being a CSR fit into your life and where you are right now? When you look back at it, how did it help you get to where you are?
It was one of my first jobs. So as I mentioned, I had already been working in radio, but I was, I'd probably been wala pang 1 year sa Magic when I started courtside, and I was still in college. And I
Mhm.
think that really helped me figure out which direction I wanted to take my career. I knew at the time, I knew I liked TV. I wanted to stay in TV. I wanted to stay in radio. I enjoyed broadcast. Oh, there's your dad. But yeah, I think that was a good start for me, and getting to know those people, and really building up this ability to think on your feet. I don't know how many resumes I've put that in. Just being able to just at the snap of a finger, be able to come up with a good report, to know to develop instincts, to know who to ask the right questions from, and how to help to feel comfortable and to make other people feel comfortable with the questions that you need to ask them for you to be able to do your job. That's been so helpful to me. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I think my dad is watching this and feeling very old at the moment.
God.
All right, but for those who want a taste of that experience of being a courtside reporter, now is your chance to audition as the next UAAP courtside reporter. If you are 18 to 23 years old, currently enrolled in a UAAP school, and fluent in both English and Tagalog, so siguro back then I couldn't audition. Submit your CV and a 90-second headshot with a brief introduction and why you want to be a courtside reporter to the email on your screens on or before February 6, 2022.